Hey, what's going on, everybody? Star here, and we're not going to waste any time getting into this. Later in the video, I will be talking about my opinions, at least about what I think about the new Steam hardware. But if you're most likely watching this video, you're definitely here for the hopium and copium and whatever you Twitter people are doing. For Half-Life 3, and Half-Life 3 is probably one of the biggest game announcements of all time next to GTA 6. Obviously, I think there's going to be a lot more people who are interested in GTA 6 compared to Half-Life 3. But Half-Life 3 has been a game that people have been waiting for since 2004 with the original Half-Life game. And next thing you know, we got episodes to kind of finish off Half-Life 2, and Half-Life 3 was the main game that, needed to be worked on. And the fact that it has been about 21 years at this point since Half-Life 2 launched and so on, with all these other Valve games, it's amazing how Valve has taken their sweet time to bother to work on a game like this, especially when they decided to make a game like Half-Life Alyx. And one of the things I think is important here, especially considering Half-Life Alyx, is the fact that Half-Life Alyx shipped also with the Steam, or the Valve Index, I should say. Sorry, I'm gonna get the too confused. And one of the things that I think people need to take into account is the fact that, the Valve Index sold as many units as it did because Half-Life Alyx was a thing and Half-Life Alyx got pushed with it. And I know that a ton of people are already very interested in something like the Steam frame, and I think that's awesome. I think it's awesome that people are very interested in the Steam frame. But the one thing that would also make units of the Steam frame sell would be something like Half-Life 3. And, any type of Valve game being pushed alongside this little PC console hybrid is good. Because what it does, it incentivizes people to buy it. You want to know why consoles existed back in the day and the console wars existed? Because both parties, or all three parties even, had exclusive games on their platform that would incentivize people to choose either one. Obviously, you were chat if you had both, but usually one person at the time could afford only one console, so it made sense for people to choose either the Xbox or the PlayStation 3 at the time. And with all the exclusives that were on the platform, it only made sense that, depending on what type of game you wanted to play, well, there you go. You either pick up the Wii, the Xbox, or the PS3 at the time. And Valve is, taking the same type of approach, of course, with this, where console exclusivity is dead outside of the Nintendo and mostly the PC space. And continuing on, if Valve were to give you Half-Life 3 alongside the Steam Machine or the Steam Frame, or not even necessarily the Steam Frame, but even something like the Steam Machine, I think that people would be absolutely losing their minds and be enjoying it to the absolute maximum, which is something that I am personally very happy about, to see that people are going to look at a system like this, or just look at, like a system like this, and, want to buy it because, oh, look at that, Half-Life 3. And it's only logical that Half-Life 3 would be coming out for a console like this because, guys, think about it. I called it, it's not a it's a PC. I don't know why I called it console. Just ignore that. But nonetheless, yeah, I think that there isn't like a reason for them to really make this type of thing because, hey, it will sell units, but if you were to bundle it with something that is completely irresistible, well, there you go. You're going to get even more sales out of it, especially if you're selling it for God knows how much. But you're also giving away one of the most anticipated games, that people have been waiting for over 21 years at this point, alongside the console, the same way how, I called it console again, alongside the Steam Machine, the same way how they bundled Half-Life Alyx with the Valve Index. And, again, that really sold well. And even for someone like me who doesn't have a Valve Index, but rather a MetaQuest 3, I bought it, I played it. Greatest game of all time. Obviously, VR support and so on isn't doing so good, but nonetheless, very good, very fun. Absolutely in love with it. And, according to Tyler McVicker and, Gabe Follower, I talked to them and so on, multiple people that are in the scene. It's either, they couldn't give me a date directly. A lot of people who I know who leaked the dates for the Steam Machine, the Steam frame and the Steam controller all said the 12th, and a lot of people are pointing towards the 18th, which would be really random for them to announce it basically about a week later. But any type of announcement would be good. And even if it isn't the 18th, like worst case scenario, if it is not the 18th, they are most likely going to show it off at something like the Game Awards. And that is going to be, that's going to be something. You know, I really don't know what else I could possibly tell you other than that would be incredible if, you know, you're there at the Game Awards and Half-Life 3 gets announced at something like that. Obviously, Valve could just do their own thing and just announce it anyways during, you know, their own like little thing on Steam, because everyone's going to be talking about it the same way how everyone's talking about the new pieces of hardware that they're putting out early next year. But nonetheless, I think that that's, you know, interesting, and I think that it's coming, man. You know, I believe, I really strongly believe that something like Half-Life 3 is going to be coming along very closely here, and I'm glad to see that there are multiple other projects that are in the works at Valve other than Half-Life 3 and CS2 and Deadlock. You know, obviously, I love all of these games, and, you know, being able to get even more, like a new Team Fortress and so on, is just going to be, whew, yeah, that's going to be something, all right. But nonetheless, I do heavily believe that it's either going to be the 18th or during the Game Awards that we are going to get this massive announcement for Half-Life 3. I will personally be waiting. I'm going to be probably coked up on fucking heroin by the time this shit's announced. But yeah, no, I think it's really cool. And, you know, if we even take a look, you know, outside of the leaks that have been happening with something like Half-Life 3, you know, the new Steam hardware is really awesome to see. I really love the Steam controller. I'm going to pick that, you know, up day one. I'm also going to pick up the Steam frame day one to replace my MetaQuest 3, because I don't care about the Quest 3. I'm not happy with the Quest 3, especially when the hardware, or the software at least, keeps breaking down and it's locked in this ecosystem that I don't really care about, especially when I have to use an application in order to use this headset, which I don't think is very fair, because this application proceeds to make the performance significantly worse compared to just streaming it to the headset. And I'm not really a big streaming guy. I don't like it. But again, like, knowing how the Valve or the Steam frame is going to work and so on, I think it's really awesome. I take a look at something like the Steam Machine, and I feel like for what that is, it's a very decent entry point. Obviously, developers are going to be absolute losers and not optimize their games for a system like that. But again, you know, we continue going forward, and something like this is just really, really awesome to see. And I'm personally excited for all three of these pieces of software or pieces of hardware to come out, and I can't wait to get my grimy little hands on them and basically kind of give you guys my full idea or full view about it, or just use the products in general, because I have been meaning to get a controller that won't break down and so on. So it's going to be really awesome to see. I'm really glad that I'm going to be picking up these pieces of hardware. The Steam Machine I might pick up later down the line, but no, like, seriously, this is really cool to see that, you know, these three pieces of hardware are going to be coming out soon and revolutionize the industry, because nobody pushes the industry the same way that Valve or Rockstar do. And I genuinely believe that, you know, if Half-Life 3 were to come out, it would be a massive shake in the industry. Like, it would be catastrophically ending for every other developer if this game were to come out, because I don't think that anybody would be able to compete with something like this. So if you guys liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm very excited for something like Half-Life 3. Obviously, this is a game that I've been waiting for over 21 years at this point. Even before I was born, when I was in development, I was waiting for the sequel of this game. And seriously, I'm very excited to see what happens next within this space of VR and games just in general, because Half-Life 3, again, is probably one of the biggest games out there that are getting announced very soon. And again, 18th or the Game Awards, it's one of the two. If not, you could beat up my little brother Adolf. You could kill him if you want to, if the dates aren't right. But from everything that we've heard, it is specifically pushing towards a trailer or some sort, even a teaser trailer at the bare minimum, this year. And I think that is awesome. So with that, make sure to like, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video when I am tweaking out when Half-Life 3 gets announced.